He had some of the cobwebs in his throat, the teacher said. He couldn't get any air. Hammond stroked and kissed Wendell on the forehead. Dad, the boy said, I think I solved the mystery. Hammond laughed and sobbed at the same time. I know you did, son. You're a great detective. Thank you. Thank you for saving my son. The principal cried. He reached over and gave Snow White a huge kiss on the mouth. Charming was standing nearby and raised his eyebrows as Snow White blushed. Then he scowled. Rumpelstiltskin crawled to his feet. He looked at his fallen children and a tear rolled down his face. It's over, Sabrina said. Oh, it's far from over, Rumpelstiltskin said. All I need to do is collect some more power, and there's someone in this room that could give me enough to blow this little town off the map. Sabrina had never been afraid of anything the way she was of this little man. He knew her anger. He feasted on it, and she had provided him with enough raw energy to destroy them all. But she wasn't going to let him play with her head any longer. You can't do it, she said. I'm not angry anymore. True, the little man replied. I miss your rage. It was delicious. But I'm not talking about you, child. I'm talking about the wolf. Sabrina gazed up at the skinny old man still trapped in his web prison. Even from such a distance, she could see the fear in Mr. Candace's eyes. It was the first time she had ever seen the old man afraid of anything. It seemed to unsettle Charming as well, because the prince stepped in front of Rumpelstiltskin with his fists clenched. We trapped down here, troll, Charming said. If you pull that stupid trick of yours on the wolf, you'll let him out and he'll kill us all. No, my friend, he will save us all, Rumpelstiltskin said. The wolf will bring the barrier down, freeing us from this prison, freeing himself from his own prison as well. Look at him, trapped inside Candace, parading around like he's human. He's just like us, except his barrier is in his own body. It's disgusting. Whatever after us, we shouldn't be acting like humans. We should be ruling over them. The wolf will be thrilled to help. His rage will open the barrier, and the world will be ours for the taking. Sabrina watched Mr. Candace struggle, but the change was already coming on him. The webs ripped as the old man's body tripled in size. A hideous roar echoed over the crumbling walls, and the wolf was free. He fell to the ground, sending a shock wave through the floor as he landed on his feet. He looked around the desperate group and licked his lips. Guess who's back? He snarled as he struck Charming, throwing him against the wall. The wolf sniffed the air. What's for dinner? Something smells good. Puck's wing sprang from his back and he stepped in front of the wolf. What's this? An appetizer? The beast asked. Rather, you sure do put on a fancy party. You know me, Wolf, Puck said bravely. You take another step or try to harm anyone here, and you will have to answer to me. The beast studied the boy for a long moment, and then a chuckle came up through his throat. Trickster, he said, sniffing the boy. Love will be the end of you. Puck blushed. I don't know what you're talking about. The wolf turned and eyed Sabrina. He chuckled and then turned his eyes back on the boy. All right, hero, I'm going to make you famous, the wolf growled. The boy spun around on his feet and immediately transformed into an elephant. He snatched the wolf up in his long trunk and smashed him against the wall. The wolf fell to the floor, stunned. Fantastic, so Rumpelstiltskin cried out. A glimmer of the blue energy began to swirl around him. Puck, stop! Sabrina cried out, but Puck was still in his moment. In the moment, he transformed back into his true form and drew his wooden sword. He jammed it into the beast's belly, and the wolf winced. Puck couldn't know he was actually helping Rumpelstiltskin build the wolf's rage. Stay down, dog! The boy shouted, smacking the wolf on the top of the head with his sword. Or there'll be no table scraps for you. The beast opened his big blue eyes and laughed. You're a funny boy. He sprang to his feet so quickly that Puck nearly fell backward. The boy's wings erupted from his back, and he flew into the air, hovering at the top of the cave. The wolf leaped high, grabbing at the boy with his claws, missing him by only inches. Puck laughed and stung the beast's paws with his sword. If it hurt, the wolf didn't seem to mind. His face was a combination of anger and amusement. It was horrifying to watch. Luckily, Puck seemed to be out of his reach until the boy's wing clipped the ceiling and he fell to the ground. The beast lunged at the boy, grabbed him in his huge claws, and opened his jaws wide. His fangs glistened in the tunnel light. Suddenly, Daphne was standing in front of him. "Stop it right now!" she demanded. The wolf turned to look at the little girl with sadistic amusement. "Don't worry, child," the wolf said. "You'll get your turn to fight for your life." "Daphne!" Granny cried. "Leave Puck alone," Daphne said, "and let me talk to Mr. Canis." The wolf snarled. "Child, Mr. Canis is not real. There's only me." "I know that's a lie," the little girl cried. If she was afraid, Sabrina couldn't see it. "Mr. Canis is real because I said he is. He's part of my family and I love him." Briefly, the wolf's face changed. For a flickering moment, Sabrina saw his steel blue eyes change to Mr. Canis' dual grey ones. The old man was inside, trying to control himself. "Daphne," the wolf said quietly, dropping Puck. Then a shudder ran through him, and any trace of their family friend was buried again. The boy climbed to his feet and picked up a large rock from the ground. He tossed it as hard as he could, beaming the beast in the head. "Hey, wolf, you ever hear of a game called dodgeball?" he said. "Death is moments away from you, and you want to discuss a child's game?" The wolf laughed. Puck threw the boulder and hit the wolf in the chest, knocking the air out of the big brute. "I don't want to talk about it," he shouted, bending over for another boulder. "I want to play it." With impossible speed, he tossed one heavy rock after another at the beast. "Puck, stop!" Sabrina shouted. The boy looked over at her. His face was red with excitement, but his eyes were full of confusion. I'm trying to save your life, Grim," the boy said. "You're going to kill us all," Sabrina said. "You're making Rumpelstiltskin stronger." The wolf staggered to his feet. "No, child, you've got it wrong. I'm going to kill you all." "Take a look around you, Rover," Snow White said, stepping between the wolf and Sabrina. "Your little tantrum is helping to fuel your destruction." The wolf turned to face the beautiful teacher. She continued, "The angrier you get, the stronger the real enemy becomes." She pointed at Rumpelstiltskin, who was encircled in his blue energy. He seemed to be enjoying each second of the fight. The wolf turned to face the little creature, and immediately the blue glow around him expanded. "What are you up to, little man?" the boy growled. "Fantastic," Rumpelstiltskin cried. "Your rage is unbelievable." "He's powering himself with your anger, and when he has enough, he's going to blow up this cave and bury everyone in it, including you," Granny Rhoda chimed in. "You're signing your own death warrant," Hammer added. He had managed to get Wendell to his feet, but the boy was dizzy and obviously needed a doctor. "Keep going, people," Rumpelstiltskin shouted. "Direct his anger at me." "You want my rage?" the wolf said. "It's fantastic," the creature said. The wolf eyed Sabrina closely. He had an odd expression on his face, filled with disbelief, one that seemed to say, "Can you believe this guy?" If Sabrina hadn't been so terrified, she might have laughed, but she did recognize the opportunity. The wolf's attention was no longer on eating everyone in the room. He wanted a fight. Sabrina cocked an eyebrow at the wolf and said, "Sick 'em, boy." The wolf turned on Rumpelstiltskin and lunged forward, grabbing the little creature. As soon as they collided, both were enveloped in the blue energy. Sabrina's arm hurt so much she tried to prop it up with her knee. It brushed against a lump in her pocket. the little matchbox. Her eyes lit up as she pulled it out. Inside were the 2 matches. She removed one and wished she were outside and struck the match in the flame. She could see the outside of the school. Everywhere, dirty students milled around in confusion, having just broken free from the piper's magic. Sabrina, where did you get those? Granny Rhoda asked. Charming, we need to get everyone out of here, Sabrina shouted over the fighting. She tossed the match on the floor and a giant flame appeared. Mr. Hamlin, Sabrina shouted, get Wanda out of here. Hamlin nodded, picked up his son, and stepped into the flame. Daphne and Granny rushed to Toby, and together they dragged the big spider by his legs to the portal. As they did, Sabrina heard the old woman ask Puck to help with the other ever after children. He spun around on his heels and transformed into a gorilla, hoisted Bella and Natalie onto his back, then raced through the flames himself. Snow White and Sheriff Hampton helped the mayor to his feet, and together they raced to the portal. I'm supposed to rescue you, Charming said to Snow White. Maybe it's time we both started trying some new things, Snow White said, as the 3 disappeared into the flames. Granny came back through the portal and waited for Sabrina. We can't leave him down here, Sabrina cried as she watched the wolf and Rumpelstiltskin fighting. I believe Mr. Canis knows what he is doing, Granny Rhoda said. I won't go, Sabrina insisted, but Granny grabbed her sweater and dragged her through the portal. In a flash, they were standing outside in the cold with 100 elementary school students who were staring at the gorilla carrying a big hairy girl and a frog monster. This is going to take a lot of forgetful dust, Daphne said under her breath. Get away from the school, Sabrina shouted to the children, and they obeyed. They ran for the parking lot just as Sabrina heard a slow, horrible rumble from below. Everyone raced to the other side of the road, where some children were already congregated. When she reached them, Sabrina turned and watched the school. The horror unreal like a car crash. She couldn't stop watching. First, smoke billowed out of the school's windows. A terrible explosion blew out the glass and knocked the doors off their hinges. The roof collapsed. A flame 100 feet high shot out of the center, and then the ground around it sank, and the school fell into it. Finally, a cloud of dust rose up, covering the site, and when it settled again, the school was gone. Only a huge hole remained as evidence that there had been anything at all. Mr. Canis, Sabrina gasped. He's gone. I killed him. Sabrina, don't, Granny pleaded. This is all my fault, the girl said as she broke down in tears. No, child, you are not responsible for this. Granny tried to reassure her. Sabrina pulled away. It was my anger and my prejudice that did this, she cried. Child, Rumpelstiltskin manipulated you, her grandmother insisted. He only manipulated what was already inside of me. Oh, Liebling. Suddenly, Beauty and the Beast, the Frog Prince and his princess, and Little Miss Muffet, aka Mrs. Arachnid and Spider, raced through the crowd of children. We heard there was trouble at the school, the Beast grunted. Have you found our kids? Puck pointed at the 3 unconscious monsters lying on the ground. The parents cried out in unison and rushed to their children. The Beast picked up his grotesque, unconscious daughter, Natalie, and lifted her into the air. She's beautiful, darling, he cried to his wife. Sabrina watched the happiness in the parents' eyes. The Frog Prince and his wife kneeled down to his unconscious daughter, Bella, and slowly caressed her face. Even the spider cooed over his son, Toby. They loved their monstrous, murderous children. Sabrina looked into her box of matches. She reached out and took out the last of the match girls. That's the end of this video, and probably the last one for today. Goodbye.